Well, the big date has finally come upon us, April the 11th. Recall when this particular election was shifted many weeks ago. We thought it will never come. This is the final lap of the elections in Nigeria for 2015. Welcome to Nigeria 2015. I'm Sulaiman Alede.
Good morning. I'm Maokbe Ogun.
Good morning. Neo Taigbe.
Well, the battle of wills, that's what they call it, and a whole lot of political parties, 14 of them, are battling for elections in 29 states of the 36 states of the Federation, excluding the FCT, and in some other states that won't be going to the polls, they will be having elections into the assemblies of such states. How prepared are we? How ready can we go? Talking about the electoral umpire as well as security agencies. Well, are they ready to go the whole hog and see that we have a transparent, peaceful, and credible election? These are some of the questions Nigerians, and especially even the observers and monitors, are asking today as we start off this particular process just some minutes from now.
Well, I think that it's going to be, we've seen this before. A lot of people, I think that the anxiety is a lot less. Yes, people are worried as to what the outcome of the elections might eventually be, but they've stated their expectations. The expectations are that it should be a lot better from what they noticed last 2 weeks. I keep saying last week, but it was 2 weeks ago. If you notice, Sulaiman, the air around you seems to be more like we've been there, we've seen the template, we know what it's supposed to be like, and so there is less apprehension in the air. On my way to work this morning, you did see that people were moving about. Unlike 2 weeks ago when people felt that, it was safer to be indoors. Even estates that took extra precautions in terms of safety around their premises, they're still a little cautious, but you will see that certain things have been relaxed. That's because they now have more confidence that it should be a lot better and things are not as tense as they thought it would be. And I think that is a good sign. So let us see eventually what happens today. INEC says they're ready. They are holding all the elections today. The INEC chairman already said it was a big no to staggered elections. They could handle it. Security agencies have also confirmed their readiness. We saw yesterday in the papers that over 32,000 policemen have been deployed to Lagos alone. And I'm sure that would also include all other security agencies of government, the customs, NSCDC, and what have you, deployed to not just Lagos as well, but other parts of the country. And even the troubled state, INEC says it's going to have extra eyes, it's going to have extra eyes in those states. So I think that there's no cause for alarm. We should all go out, exercise our franchise, do as we did 2 weeks ago, and hope that the results will just be as neat as it was last week.
Now, it might look as if the anticipation level is gone down a bit, but I tell you, Mark, it's high up there.
It is?
Yes, indeed.
For
I mean,
the
electorate, the voters.
I think I agree with you.
The anticipation level is high up there. Yes, it's not tense as it was in 2 weeks ago, but it's still there. Although in some states, the anticipation levels, the tension there is palpable, and the voters are just cautiously optimistic that, hey, things will go as they did in the presidential elections, because there are some states that, even as the National Human Rights Commission has said, there are some states that are potential flashpoints. But someone said something yesterday on set in the evening. He said, one of the guests, he said, it's still a product of the individual voters determining that you will not let yourself be a tool for mayhem. You will not be yourself be a tool of disruption. Otherwise, everybody can just go out there and just do their thing and go back home and wait for the electoral umpire to announce the results.
I'll tell you what I heard from one of the voters. I do know that we've been going around, taking voters' expectations on what they think the polls will bring. And one of the women there, in one of the flashpoint states, said, I've noticed now that if there's going to be any violence, it's usually after the polls. So because of that, I'm going to go out there, cast my ballot, and hope that by the time I've heard the result of my polling unit, the violence will be after I've gone. So that's the feeling from a lot of voters. And if you've noticed the pattern of violence, really, that's how it is. You hardly see the violence at the polling units because the people seem like they're standing on guard, ready for anybody who wants to come and cause that violence.
There were some reports yesterday, unconfirmed though, of election materials being snatched in certain areas.
Or being diverted.
No, besides the one that was being diverted, that was in Asaba, where they caught the driver allegedly being diverted. Now, there's some an alleged snatch of electoral materials in Abia. There was also a report of election materials being snatched in one of the southeast states, but this again they are not confirmed. Now, if we have this kind of flashpoint of snatching of materials before the elections, what do we expect to see in the course of the election? No wonder INEC is insisting that the card reader is non-negotiable. This is it or nothing. If it's not working, we'll stop and come back the next day. Like in Bayelsa, for instance, they are not going to have elections in 8 constituencies because they do not have enough ballot papers. So INEC is determined to ensure, and I mean, one of our consultants on set yesterday even said it, that yes, the Electoral Act empowers INEC to shift elections, to suspend elections. It's only INEC that has the power to do that. Nobody else. It's only INEC that has the power to do that. And nobody has a right to come and say, I want to see these papers before I vote, or else I will not vote. You don't have a right to do that. Your job is come in and vote and stand, if you must, peacefully and watch the counts being done.
When you talk about peacefully, we'll also be looking at the security agencies. How prepared are they? If Marque has observed that, we have more movements, even though the restriction hasn't actually started, it should start from 8 o'clock and last till about 5. No, 8 o'clock in the morning till about 5 p.m.
Okay.
And if we have seen people dashing everywhere they can get to before 8 o'clock, it then means one of two. They are going to where they registered to see that they cast their ballot this time around, because recall we had a bit of apathy in the electorates to the extent that most of them didn't cast their ballot during the presidential system. Now that is why I said totally I agree with you, Nyota, when you said, well, this time around I think the tension is really there and the interest is heightened from the electorates from across states. In other parts of the states where they are not going for the governorship elections, they have even been placing calls when they heard about the Bayelsa issues. Some have been calling channels, has it been postponed? In our own state, we said, no, wait a minute, just a few local government areas in that particular state, that's where the elections will not be holding. But again, as you already understand, there's the actors are not willing to cede any grounds either, with their eyes firmly fixed on the prize in one of the most fascinating times in our election history. Let's see what INEC has for us, and also the security agencies.
That advisory from a highly placed political leaders is very unfortunate, because permanent voter cards and permanent voter cards alone will be acceptable at the polling units, and card readers will be used. And that's why the Commission thinks it is important to make it clear that people will be exposing themselves to unnecessary risk of being in collision with the law if they go by that advisory. Temporary voter cards will not be acceptable, and people without permanent voter cards need not come to the polling units at all. So if your card reader fails, INEC will replace it. In the remote, very remote, in the remote possibility that INEC is not able to replace a card reader before 1 p.m., then in that polling unit, voters will have to come back the following day and go through the exercise. Honestly, it is totally, it runs totally foul of the electoral procedure for voters to demand to see the result sheets, because there's no business. Just look at the procedure on election day. Where does asking for result sheets come in?
Security is a collective, even including the members of the phrase. What you are doing now, you are the bridge between us and the members of the public. So it's a collective effort. It's for everybody. The zone southwest, what we are hearing, people are ready to go and cast their votes. And without any fear, we assure them there's no fear for anything. Peace is the most important thing in all human endeavors. So let them cast their vote and remain peaceful.
Well, great comments there from two of the the establishments or agencies that will be monitoring this particular process. From the Independent National Electoral Commission and the security agencies, the police now, they've been speaking, saying cast your ballot and go. But loads and loads of questions will be asking who wins where? Who will finish the strongest? Will the electorate be resolute enough to go the whole hog? Will the umpire, you just heard them, live up to its billing? Only time will tell. And by 5 p.m. today, in all those states, the events in the next few hours may be a pointer to what to expect. While Nigeria 2015, remember the hashtag, that's it, Nigeria 2015 to send in your messages. The email nigeria2015@channelstv.com. Wherever you are at the moment watching us, you also can watch us online, m.channelstv.com. And of course, our UK viewers, it's easier for you now as we are now live on Sky, channels 5, 7, 5. Well, we'll be back shortly. You stay with us.